Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of your favorite jiu-jitsu podcast, A Fistful of Collars. Howell Teague, Reid, Chase Smith, and Will Safford in the house once again to break down the best of the week in jiu-jitsu and generally talk about all things mat-related. So, what's up, guys? April, here we are, a brand new month. And it looked like one of our busiest of the year, huh?
This is a month.
A hell of a month. That is exactly what it is, Will.
Hell of a month.
A hell of a month. What's going on?
If you have canceled your subscription to FloGrappling, this is the month
You played yourself.
You made a terrible
This is
mistake.
where you come back. You played yourself. Man, we'll start it off this Friday. We've got Fight to Win. This one is in Toledo, Ohio, with GF team representatives. We've got Vitor Oliveira. The main event, we've also got Dante Leon as well. So two really tough GF team guys.
There's a massive debate, by the way, on how you actually say Dante Leon's name.
It's Dante Leon.
It's not, though.
I asked him. It's Leon.
Yeah, I remember when he said, I went back and looked at an interview I did with him where I had him introduce himself to me from Royal, and he says Leon.
Leon.
So.
He's Canadian. He's not like Leon. But, you know, it's like that's the Latin version, right? Dante Leon.
That sounds so
Dante
much
Leon,
cooler.
yep.
Yeah, those are some fire matches, though. Looking forward to Fight to Win, going back through the Rust Belt there, going through Ohio. It's going to be cool.
April 6th, that's coming up this weekend. That'll be a good one. Vitor Oliveira versus Keith Minor. And Keith Minor's got an interesting story, right? This is the main event.
Yeah, man, it's an incredible story, really. He had a terrible accident with a wood chipper and lost a good part of his right arm. I believe it's amputated below the elbow.
God damn.
Went on, from what I understand and from his bio on his website, to start training after that. And to go eventually 5-5 MMA, made it into Bellator, has a fight in Bellator, as well as a grappling credentials. So that is pretty damn impressive.
Yeah, it
and
is.
He's got the stones to take on Vitor Oliveira, who is just like one of the most terrifying people you've ever seen. He has incredible throws, great stand-up.
You know, Vitor's a lovely guy, but hell, that guy's a rock, right?
He
For sure.
punished.
Keith Minor also likes to stand. I don't know what his jiu-jitsu game is, but in MMA, he likes to stand. So we might see. We just put up a highlight of Vitor Oliveira from last year's Masters, and that guy is a takedown machine.
Yeah, he is.
He's got this drop Seonagi that just got everybody. So
And this is a gi or no gi match.
This, I believe, is a gi match. So definitely very curious to see how it plays out. Kind of got to root for Keith Minor on this one. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, 100%. And we got a ton of other events. I mean, there's 3 other Fight to Win events this month. There's 4 in total. In April 13th in Maryland, we've got Tim Spriggs versus Gutenberg Pereira in the main event of that one. What do you think about that, Reid?
What a match. What
Yeah.
a match. I think just in general, man, it really feels like Fight to Win's been stepping things up a lot. You know, these last couple, the one in Miami that you were just at, it was a huge event. And this one upcoming in Ohio seems really big. And as well as this Gutenberg versus Tim Spriggs match. I know Jameel Hill is also on the card. A lot of Team Lloyd Irvin guys out there. But Gutenberg versus Tim Spriggs, man. Wow, what a match. That's a great match.
Yeah.
Gutenberg just coming off this huge performance at the Absolute Division at Pans, you know, where he made it to the finals against Leandro Lowe. So he's a really kind of like new hot prospect in the black belt division. And of course, I think we all know Tim Spriggs.
Spriggs is Spriggs.
Train wreck.
Yeah, he's one of our favorites to watch always. You know, we were watching him versus Mateus Diniz
Wow.
at Pans.
That was a powerful
That
match.
was one of the craziest matches.
Not many
of
people
the
throw
tournament.
around Mateus Diniz like that, right? But
Yeah.
hell, man, Spriggs went at him. Woof.
Over and over and over again too. So.
How long has Tim Spriggs been a black belt?
Oh, man, I want to say 4 years.
So he's got quite a
he's
bit of
been
experience on Gutenberg.
I
at the
remember
high
seeing
level.
him in like Copa Podio competing in Brazil,
That's
like
what I remember.
2014, 15 maybe, and like the heavyweight Grand Prix. Man, yeah, he's been around, but he kind of took a big chunk of last year off. Remember,
Yeah.
we almost didn't see him compete at all. I think maybe he had like a handful of super fights, and of course he did ADCC like pretty last minute. But I'm glad he's back, right? He seems back and he seems really into it and stuff. So this is great.
Yeah, and it's the perfect matchup, I think. Tim Spriggs versus Gutenberg Pereira. That's going to be a submission-only match. It's going to be a crazy one.
That's like a Pans or Worlds final match right there,
true.
almost, right? You could see those guys going at it, but like 10 minutes, submission only, in Maryland. That's Spriggs' backyard. That's awesome.
we saw Gutenberg and Muhammad Ali at Pans, and that was a great fight. But Gutenberg, I think, pulled guard right off the bat to kind of, because Ali's awesome on his feet. And then in the last few minutes of the match, he came up for the sweep and was able to beat him there. So, but we've also got Ottavio Nalati on this card. So the big boy hitting the stage.
I love that guy. He's like
He's going to test the limits of the fight to win stage, man.
That's true. That's true.
And he's going to be going against another big lad, I'm sure, in a heavyweight. So
I hope he's not going against a really small guy. That would be weird.
Rafael Maya is his opponent. And then Devontae Johnson at Unity is also on this card. So this is exciting.
Ton of talent. Yeah, Fight to Win, we've got 2 more events. There's another one in Philadelphia. They're yet to confirm the main event for that one, April 20th. But then towards the end of April, one of our favorites, one of the most loved guys in jiu-jitsu, I think, Tom DeBlas, guy with a huge following, universally respected, and he's got a main event there, Fight to Win against Lou Armazani. So always looking forward to see Tom in a match, and he's been in and around on the Fight to Win circuit as well, right? He's had quite a few on there now.
Oh yeah, he's had a couple. He fought Rico Rodriguez there last year, and had a couple other main event matchups. Joao Assis. Yeah, they put on a good show.
Tough match there, and Tom's cutting down to 220 pounds, which he said a few times that's the lightest he's competed at in years. So we'll see a very fit Tom DeBlas. Looking forward to that. And Lou's no slouch either. He's a 3 or 4 time Fight to Win pro winner as well. So
former MMA fighter, just like Tom, I believe, right? So
that's great. I love when guys who are a little less known. Obviously, everybody knows Tom DeBlas, but maybe not everybody's familiar with Lou. But he's been on the Fight to Win circuit. He's had some wins in his local Fight to Wins, and he's worked his way up to a main event slot against Tom DeBlas. Like you said, one of the biggest guys, one of the biggest stars in our sport. So
it's great seeing Tom still be super hungry. You know, he's got all of his students like Gary and Gordon that are out there proving their worth and winning huge tournaments, and Tom is doing the same exact thing still, so that's awesome.
I love watching Tom. He always, when he's on the Fight to Win stage, he's a bulldog. He comes at you, man. He likes to wrestle. He likes to go for the takedown.
And he never stops smiling. Right? He's like there in the middle of that, like
a good
clubbing and slapping each other, but he's just got a grin on his face all the way through.
Having a great time.
I like it. He kind of dares the other guy to submit him. You know, he's like, how dare you to try submission? You know?
Yeah, good luck. And then a bunch of other events. We got April 22nd, Marianas Open. Chase, you're going to Guam.
I'm going to Guam.
This
and
guy.
That's the big news of the event. I'll see you in Guam. No, it's a pretty stacked event. They have 2 weight classes in the black belts. 181 and under, which has guys like Andres Brunovsky, Renato Canuto. Then we have 181 and over, Philippi Panna, Jackson Souza, Lucas Barbosa, and Muhammad Ali is also making his way out there. It's crazy. All those could be super fights, but it's actually 2 9 to 10 man brackets at this point, with each division having a $10,000 cash prize on the end of it.
Wow.
So Marianas again I think their 11th event. I could be wrong about that, but it's going to double digits now. And
this is in the gi.
All in the gi, and IBJJF rules. So it's pretty much a standard tournament, but with a huge cash prize and like the top tier talent. So we'll see a bunch of really good guys out there.
Man, it's great to see an open tournament doing something like this. You know, we see a lot of these pro invitationals and stuff, and obviously they try to bring all the guys together. But this is like this is the biggest event in that kind of region, right? You went there last year, actually, Reid, and like Micronesia. You know, it's a tiny little dot there in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and it's crazy. They got this amazing jiu-jitsu scene.
Yeah, it's an incredible place for sure. They call it like a jiu-jitsu in paradise, and that is 100% accurate. Super jealous of Chase going back. I got to go there last year.
Grin on his face.
I can't even hide it. I can't even hide it going to Guam. I definitely am looking forward to diving into the Guam scene. I'll be there for a few more days, and there's like 6 gyms on a really tiny island. So I want to see how that's possible, you know.
I'm looking forward to see what you bring back from that, because I really like to see more of the lifestyle there and the training scene. I know they've got that warrior culture as well. It'll be really cool to see. So
it's going to be great. So.
And the brackets just dropped today. We got the first round matches here on our site already on FloGrappling.com. And so Gilbert Burns, Dorino, is up against Masahiro Iwasaki.
In the gi.
Crazy match.
Burns in the gi in a long time.
We haven't.
And Iwasaki's that guy from Japan who faced Michael Lange in the final
European. He was a breakout.
Beat Evan Najmi and Hanato.
Yeah. And Hanato's in there as well. He's got a bye in his first round, but then on the other side of the bracket, you've got Servio Tullio and Andres Brunovskis in a first round match. Servio won the brown belt tournament there last year, right?
Servio won $1,000 in the brown belt tournament last year. He just was accompanying Philippi Panna and decided, I'll jump in the tournament, and ended up winning it. So I think he gets the invite back now that he's a black belt to fight in the in the Open.
That's awesome. And speaking of Philippi Panna, of course, he's in the heavyweight bracket.
Returning champion.
Returning champion, as is Isaac Bayens, who's also in the lightweight. And Philippi Panna's in. He's got a bye in his first round. But then some of the first round matches in that division, you got Jackson Souza versus Muhammad Ali. First round.
It's crazy.
That's a crazy one. Always
That's a
crazy
good one. Viking Wong up against Tanner Rice. That's another intriguing match. You know Viking quite well, right?
Yeah, Viking's man. I had a great time with Viking out in Guam last year. But interestingly, he fought in the in the lightweight category. So he's one of the only guys I think that's now kind of making the jump up to the heavier weight category with Felipe.
Very cool. So yeah, guys like Lucas Hulk, Philippi Panna, Viking Wong, Tanner Rice, Jackson Souza, Muhammad Ali, and then the lightweight you got Renato Canuto, Diego Ramalho. Oh man, that's a stacked tournament. Looking forward to that one.
Everybody in there is great. I love it. Last year, man, it was so much fun there because, like you said, in the island they really do love jiu-jitsu. It was like the entire island came together and packed this gymnasium, and everybody was super interested to watch. They don't get Philippi Panna and Tanner Rice and Renato Canuto guys. They only get those guys coming over to the island once a year.
Yeah.
So it is a huge event on the island. And elsewhere too. I think a lot of people are really looking forward to the whole tournament.
If you're not, then you're missing out because there's some incredible matches.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, this is just a couple of days before the Abu Dhabi World Pro, which myself and Will, we're going to be heading over to Abu Dhabi and bringing the coverage from there. The Abu Dhabi World Pro is one of the biggest events in the world. It's pretty much the parallel World Championships, right? Most international event in Jiu-Jitsu. They have literally hundreds of countries and nationalities represented. And actually, guys like Philippi Panna and Jackson Souza, they're flying from Guam straight to Abu Dhabi to compete in the Open tournament a couple of days later. It's insane.
What a life.
What a life.
There's another $15,000 on the line for first place at World Pro. So, man, you could be banking 25 Gs in 8 days if you play your cards right.
Wow, that is huge. And the World Pro, of course, has got a special event this year because this is the final year that they're going to do World Pro as an annual event. So this is the 10th year of World Pro. And, the UAE JJF, they're always trying new things. They're always bringing in new stuff. They brought in a couple of years ago, starting in 2015, the Grand Slam, right, which became like this big international circuit. So apparently after this year, the UAE JJF World Pro is going to become every other year. And they're going to add in another Grand Slam event in Moscow. Ooh.
Very nice.
Gonna get to Russia. I've never been to Russia. I'm hopefully gonna go to Russia next season. That sounds kind of fun. But so 6 Grand Slam events, and this year as well, they've got the King of Mats. So the King of Mats is kind of a little bit different because they're inviting former champions from World Pro, former champions from Grand Slam events, and they're putting on this amazing one-night round-robin event with a $200,000 prize pot. What?
Yeah, say that again. $200,000.
Spread over only 3 weight categories. And apparently, if I understand this correctly, only first and second place actually get a cash prize.
Oh, wow.
I'm not sure that third place actually gets a cash prize. So just do the math right there. Like,
you're taking home some cash if you if you win first or second.
Well, the crazy thing is as well, that Gianni Grippo, for example, he's competing in the King of Mats. He's a 2-time World Pro champion. And then he gets a day off after King of Mats. And he's jumping into the Open tournament as well, right? So let's just kind of like put this out there. If he wins the King of Mats and he gets TBD, but we think it's probably like a 40 or 50 grand prize to win that, and then he goes on to win the 15 grand prize for the black belt division in his weight category in the Open tournament, that's a shit ton of money.
He's retiring. Hanging up his belt.
The rest of the year off.
You could take the rest of the year off on that money. That's insane, right?
It's going to be hard to do. He's got some killers out there he's going to have to face, but
yeah, that's a good
that
point.
That would be pretty awesome. One of the middleweight category of King of Mats, Tarsis Humphreys, Roberto Satoshi, Tanner Rice, Jaime Canuto, Andre Galvao, Renato Canuto, and Clark Gracie.
Wow. Round robin. Let's just say it again.
Round
Round
robin.
robin.
And it's round robin Podio style. So you got 2 groups. So in a group of, say, 8 guys, there'll be 2 groups of 4 fighting a round robin. Just like Kazai, they do the same system, right? Yeah. 2 groups, they fight in a round robin. And then the top guy from each group, they'll go through, the top 2, into the semifinals. and then that determines the final. Man, that's a lot of jiu-jitsu in one night.
It's gotta be fun, man.
3 weight divisions: lightweight, middleweight, and heavyweight. They're combining, I think it's roosterweight right up to like lightweight, and then middleweight up to middle heavy, and then heavyweight and above. And yeah, just looking at some of these names, you got Gianni Grippo, you got Leo Saggiorio, that really tough BTT guy. He's a 2014 World Pro Champion. Who else you got? You got Isaac Baiva, you got Salsinho, just really, really tough guys. And then you mentioned the middleweight division. In the heavyweight, you got Braga Neto, Alexander Trans, Cyborg, Helton Silva. He's the #1 ranked guy currently in the UAE JJF ranking. He's a guy from Brotherhood, from Leandro's gym. Tapped out Jackson Souza at Europeans. Really unknown kind of guy, actually. I think this is even maybe first or second year as a black belt. They're just coming through. And then there's another one to keep an eye on as well. You will remember this name, Chase, because we first learned about him at the Rio Grand Slam in November, Gerard Lubinsky.
Yes.
Remember that gigantic Polish dude who just came in and just crushed everyone?
Yeah, he was a force. His final with
Igor
Silva. Yeah. That Igor had run through people all year long in the heavyweight division.
#1 ranked fighter.
#1 ranked fighter, and he'll probably secure that at World Pro. But he had this tough match with Gerard, and man, Leandro Lowe is coaching him. I'm like, who is Leandro coaching right now? This guy's this Jack Polish dude. Like, what's going on here? But
the crazy thing is, this guy is like spent a lot of time down in Brazil, living in Sao Paulo, trains at Brotherhood with Leandro down there, and like almost nobody knows who he is. I think he got his black belt maybe last year, and check him out on Instagram because he's just this gigantic, jacked Polish dude who trains with Leandro. And then, man, can you imagine getting that guy in your bracket? You're like, who's this Polish dude? I'll be fine. And then you meet him.
Nope.
Nope. So, yeah, absolutely stacked with talent. And that's not all. April, more events. The USA Grappling Team Trials coming up April 26th, 27th. And, of course, the big one that we're all really excited for, April 14th, Kazai Pro in New York City.
Ooh. Yeah.
This is the second event that they've done. You were at the first one, right?
Oh yeah, first one. When was that? Back in December, I think, right? Back in early December, they came out on the scene. I thought they put out one of the best live shows, live jiu-jitsu shows I've ever been at. They have a huge mat for the grapplers, so they're never restarting people really. The New York scene doesn't quite get as much love as like California and a few others, but there's a huge scene in New York, obviously.
And yeah, I think they've even sold the tickets out already for the live show. That's crazy.
There you go.
Great news.
So and I'm just super excited. Kazai Pro 2, they're coming back. It's going to be another great show, and they have like seriously brought out all the big guns because there's just plenty of big names and big matches. And I think kind of one of the ones that we're all really, really looking forward to is Geo Martinez versus Nicky Ryan. That's a match that I think just has everyone scratching their head. I'm thinking that how this one's gonna go.
Man, there's been so much buzz around this match for like months, right?
It's true.
That's what happens when you get Gordon Ryan campaigning to make the match, right? Everybody talking about it. So finally it's happening.
Finally it's happening. I know Chase just got back from San Diego, right?
That's right. I was out there just yesterday with Geo Martinez, seeing how he gets ready for Nicky.
And vice versa.
And vice versa.
You were in New York.
So it was cool. We were here in the middle of the country, Austin, Texas, and Chase went to West Coast San Diego. I went to East Coast New York City, and man, I just love New York City. It's such a great place to go to, and especially Renzo Gracie Academy, going there. It's just crazy. It's really crazy going there because it's like I walked in the doors and in there is Gordon Ryan training in the gi, Nicky Ryan getting ready, and John Danaher coaching him there. Craig Jones is there getting ready for his plethora of competitions that he has coming up. And Jake Shields is there, a lot of like the younger Danaher Death Squad guys like Nick Ronan and Jason Rao. They're like, there's just so many super good guys on that mat, and they're all just trying to take each other's heads off. And like just going there and sitting on the side of the mat is like, it's an incredible experience. It's so much fun there.
And while you were in New York, you also caught up with Eddie Cummings.
And that wasn't even all I did. That's true. That's very true. And then I got to go and hang out with Eddie Cummings. And man, Eddie has such a mind for the sport. It's such a great experience to talk to him about
jiu-jitsu. He's got a super fight on Kazai too.
And he's fighting Hinato Kanuto, which is just another bonkers fight because I think Hinato really broke out in December at Kazai Pro 1 as a force to be reckoned with. Later on, he went on to win Nogi World Championships. but he he had a great performance at Kasai, looked incredible out there, had a great match with Munch and with Gary Tonin. And so he's coming back, and he's going to fight another Danaher Death Squad guy, Eddie Cummings. So that's just another crazy bonkers fight. And then the middleweight tournament is there too.
Yeah, that's just super fights. We haven't talked about the 8-man Grand Prix.
So. Yeah, and there's another super fight. You got AJ's got a super fight on there as well. But then the Grand Prix, middleweight tournament, call it what you like, but 8-man, 185-pound middleweight tournament. Get ready for this. 8 names, okay? Mateusz Diniz, Craig Jones, DJ Jackson, Richie Boogeyman Martinez, Dante Leon, Mike Perez, Nick Calvinizzi, and Philippi Panna. That is a solid 8-man lineup right there.
So it's such an interesting mix of styles too. You've got like DJ Jackson, who's just this powerhouse, super athletic, and very dominant on the feet from the top position. And then you've got Craig Jones, who is more of like a guard player, really savvy with the leg locks. Mike Perez, I think you can speak to this more. You just saw him, but I think he was a really good late addition to this. Kind
of
group.
a wild card, huh?
Yeah, but he's like, man, when we had Craig here a couple weeks ago, he was saying like in 2015, I remember Perez was training, I think he was a purple belt at the time, and he was going to ADCC, and he was training heel hooks, and he was heel hooking the shit out of Craig Jones, which kind of sparked Craig Jones to start learning the heel hook game. So Mike Perez just got his black belt, I think, within like the last 12 months, and he's been waiting for a competition like this to show. He's a no-gi guy through and through, loves to wrestle, loves to go hard, he loves to scrap.
Pretty fearless, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was great. So I was in San Diego, and I met with Geo, and then I also drove down to Atos because we have Hulk going to Marianas, Brunowski's going to Marianas as well, and then, of course, Mike Perez is doing Kasai. And so when I spoke to Perez about Kasai, he said he wanted to face DJ. Interesting matchup right there. 2 really headstrong guys, ex-teammates, because as Mike Perez was on Lloyd Irvin back in the day. And I'm like, man, who goes to the ground first on that? Like, neither guy wants to play guard, right? And good luck taking down DJ. So, but same goes for Mike Perez. And yeah, we had a really fun conversation. I really was impressed with Mike Perez at ADCC. He goes in there, late edition, and faces Philippi Panna and Yuri Simoes, like 2 of the best ever.
And he fought Buchecha too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And he doesn't take a step back against anybody either, right?
It was great to hear him say, I'm like, what's it like facing someone like Yuri? Yuri's super intense. It's an emotional dogfight, and he's like, you have to bully back. How do you beat a bully? You can't be intimidated. You have to fight back hard. And so I think he brings the great mentalities for Kasai, and I'm looking forward to him having a breakout performance because he's always been in the mix. He's a top guy. He just got his black belt, and now he needs a showcase event. So we'll see what happens at Kasai.
He usually competes as like a heavyweight, sometimes super. I think he's even done like ultra heavyweight competitions before. So this will be interesting.
He ain't that big.
He's not. But he's not that big. But
a brown belt no-gi world champion. And then one of my favorite performances from Mike Perez is when he fought Joao Assis on late notice at Fight to Win. And he played guard a lot in that match too.
He did.
And
Joao's much bigger.
much bigger.
He's probably got 40 pounds on him.
Yeah. So that was a fun one.
But one thing I want to talk about Geo real quick was I was really impressed by his competitiveness. I mean, I always viewed him as a laid-back guy that just was in it because he really enjoyed the game, and he does. He's all those things. But he also has this glint in his eyes where he's like, he loves the challenge. He loves being called out. And he said, I want to give him the match he wants. Like, I can't wait to prove myself, to represent my team. I'm in this to win. And it's not personal. He just loves the competition. So I really saw him fired up, man. He was training super hard. Ben Saunders was in the gym, MMA fighter, Killer B. Ricky Lule was also there from 10th Planet. So those guys rolled hard for over an hour and a half, just straight rounds. The gym was fogged up, and it was really fun seeing to be around. And I really enjoyed just seeing how fired up Geo was, because I wasn't sure.
Yeah, well, I got a question for you then, because you mentioned there about how Geo, he's obviously taken it very seriously, but the vibe I've been getting in general, because I spoke to Eddie Bravo last week, is that they're being very respectful, but they're taking the challenge very seriously. Is that
100%? Absolutely. Geo was very clear to say, I love playing the sport. I love the game. There's no malice here. But yeah, I'm here to win. Yeah, I'm here to beat you, and I'm ready to bring it to you.
And then let me flip that around then, because on the other side, obviously, Nicky, you spoke with John Danaher, and something interesting came up in conversation there, because people were pushing for the for the Geo versus Nicky match, but it was actually John who was reluctant to make that match happen, right?
Yeah, that's true. He did say he if it were up to him completely, he would have waited just a little bit longer, until Nicky had more physically matured. But just to speak to what Nicky kind of had to say too, because I think he's sensing that people are excited about the match, but people aren't really giving him a shot. And I think he really sees himself as the underdog. I think people are like, if Eddie Cummings couldn't beat Geo Martinez, how can Nicky Ryan beat Geo Martinez? So I think he's really seriously being like, no. Like, I understand that this is a big match, and a lot of people are going to be watching this match, and like, this is my time to prove everybody wrong that I can hang with the best 10th planet black belt out there, and that's how they describe Geo Martinez, as the best 10th planet black belt.
Absolutely, and this is the crazy thing about Nicky is sometimes we say it over and over and over. Oh, 16-year-old Nicky Ryan, 16-year-old Nicky Ryan. But you look at him, his composure, his performances, his results are much more mature than his age, right? But I'm amazed at that attitude, man. A 16-year-old kid to have that much self-awareness, that's incredible.
Man, it was actually really funny. I was talking to John, and he was like, although Nicky Ryan is 16 years old, compared to everybody in the group, Gary Tonin, Gordon Ryan, he's the most mature out of all of them. He's like, and John even said, myself included. Nicky is light years mature beyond all the rest of the group.
He's got the horrified younger brother thing going, like, oh my God, these animals.
I was thinking about this the other day. If Nicky Ryan wins, where does he go from there? Because he's still a purple belt, right?
It's true.
So like, he's gonna have to still compete in the purple belt ranks, then go through brown. But at that point, he would have taken out, like you said, the top 10th planet guy. So
it is a good question, actually. I mean, like, you clear out the 10th planet squad, because he's already beaten Ricky Lule, he's already beaten Marvin Castell. Geo is the last name to cross off that list. Once you've taken out all of the 10th planet guys, like, what is next for you? Because he's primarily a no-gi guy, and 10th planet of the other primarily no-gi school or team out there is like, what other challenges remain? It's like, I guess he's going to wait until next year and go back to ADCC, or is there somebody else out there?
He's got to switch teams and fight Eddie Cummings and
go up the ranks. Yeah. I mean, it is a bit weird when you think about it. It's a great point. Can an adult call out a minor? Like, all right, I'm going to beat your ass, you 17-year-old. Like, it's a bad look. So he's got to be on the offensive at all times. And he's really got
what I wonder is, like, what weight he's going to settle into as he, like, continues to mature. Because right now he's a lightweight or a featherweight, right? So
yeah, he's like 140?
Yeah, he looks like 140. Yeah.
So, like, where will he eventually settle, and then who will he go after once he gets to that?
Well, you know who I'd like to see him go up against eventually, but no rush on either side. But I'd love to see a rematch with Kennedy Marcial, Cobrinha Jr., right? Because they had that super fight at the Studio 540 there. Was it the end of 2015 or 16?
16.
End of 2016. And Kennedy got his back and choked him, right? And it's interesting because Eddie referenced that match a few times in our conversation. So they're obviously, studying up and looking for any little holes in Nicky's game. But it goes to show that there are athletes out there who could be potential opponents, whether it's in an open tournament or invitational or a super fight. But I guess there's some matches out there for him still, right?
I imagine ADCC is the next goal, right? It's not that far away. Trials are coming up in less than 6 months, so.
Yeah, that's right. We're expecting them usually around about October, November for the East Coast trials, and a couple months later for the West Coast. So, wow, that's come around quick, huh?
Yeah, it doesn't seem that long ago. We were just in Finland, but
literally, yeah.
But yeah, I think that's definitely what he's looking forward to as well. ADCC. It's just it's a special time in that room. I feel like you got Gordon trying to be the best gi player in the world.
Okay, yeah, let's hear about this then.
Gary trying to be the best MMA fighter in the world in there, and then Nicky trying to be a ADCC world champion.
So much going on in Henzo. So you must have been
crazy.
like just not sure what to look at or where to point your camera. But I think the one thing you just said, the magic words. Gordon Ryan in the gi.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah, man, it was surreal.
How do you look?
It was surreal watching him out there in the gi, especially just because the whole rest of the squad is still training no gi, And Gordon, it was like, I was really impressed because like I don't know, he's the best. He's one of the best no-gi players in the world, right? And I think it would have just been so much easier for him to just be in that side of the class doing the no-gi stuff, but it really looked like he was really committing to the gi. You know, he trained while I was there, trained 2 sessions in the gi, and he said he's been doing 2 sessions basically every day in the gi, and then he goes home and lifts.
Yeah, he lives. we know he lives. Yeah, we see that.
But yeah, man, it was awesome. I saw him, going scrapping against Gregor Gracie in the room. I saw him scrapping against Craig Jones was there in a gi for some reason, and
yeah, again, that's mind blowing.
Yeah.
Like Craig told us last time he competed in the gi, it was 2016 World Pro. He did like a little thing between now and then, but still.
And let me get this right. So all of these classes, you got the MMA guys, you got the gi guys, and the no-gi, and it's all going on in the same class.
Yeah.
And Danaher's got his eyes on everybody.
Yeah, and Danaher's like he does. He just shifts throughout the room and says, no, you're doing that wrong. Do that again, and then he goes over to this side and says that was great over here. He's really got his hands.
What a crazy setup, man.
I know.
You know what?
It's an exciting time to be there. I really think.
Yeah.
You know what John's classes remind me of? It's like a seminar, because you go in and there's like 60, 70 guys on that mat and everybody's wearing different clothes, and it's like one of those old school seminars that like the Gracies used to give when, you get some guys in a gi and then some guys in wrestling shoes and some MMA fighters, and it's like, that's like John's class every single freaking day, man. It's so wild.
Mm-hmm.
But,
absolutely. It's a huge class, and there's a lot of people.
A ton of guys in the gi's, right?
Yeah.
Gordon's got plenty of people to train with.
Definitely. I mean, there's obviously just like a lot of hobbyists, a lot of guys who are just in the area training as well. So they get no shortage of awesome roles with these guys and stuff.
What's his game like? Can you share? Like, what was he doing? What was he working on?
What was he doing? I mean, he's still. It seemed like, just from my kind of limited knowledge of watching a little bit, it still felt like he was playing single leg X and X guard and stuff like that. It still felt like.
Was he using no-gi handles, or was he starting to use the gi?
He was definitely using the gi. He had like the double sleeves grips a couple times and was kind of playing lasso, that type of stuff, but yeah, I think still playing a lot of like the X guard and single leg X and stuff like that I think he's really good at in the no gi. But and then they were talking about, what do you guys know about this false X guard?
I hadn't really heard it before, but
That was the first time I'd ever
False
heard
X
it.
guard.
When Danaher or Nicky mentioned it in that video, it was the first time I'd ever heard false X guards.
Yeah, but they were doing it so much.
It's a thing.
Yeah, this false X guard where it's like, and he even mentioned that, Nicky mentioned that Gordon used it against Cyborg at ADCC. Yeah,
News to me.
Where it's just like X guard. It's just like X guard, but when you switch the feet, which I think makes it easier for the guy to pass your X guard, but if you can do it kind of like without him knowing that you've switched your feet,
You go into that inside.
then it just makes
Sankaku.
then it just makes that inside Sukaku position like right there.
Okay, so now I know exactly what it is. So it's 1 foot on top of the other. It's the standard X guard.
Yeah, and then you
and
just
you've-
switch.
Yeah, you got usually the bottom foot will, the outside foot will be on the bottom, and it's just the other way
Yeah.
around, because then you can kick it through and you can get that.
Oh, yeah.
Sankaku.
Cool.
Craig
whatever they call
Jones
it.
uses that a lot. He calls it the
does.
reverse X guard.
Reverse X guard. Yeah, they call it that too. Yeah, reverse X
But
guard, false X guard.
Gordon's playing this in the gi.
No, he wasn't playing that in
okay.
the gi. But that's what a lot of they were working on in the class, like the technique portion of it and stuff. I guess I have a little video of it right here. We can just play it as we keep talking. But I don't know. I mean, it's like I said, it definitely did feel like a special time at Renzo Gracie, just because there's just so many guys trying to do big things there. It's really cool.
Man, look at that gym.
Just a couple
Beautiful
days
gym.
ago, right here. Just a couple days ago, this was. Here's Nicky Ryan talking about.
I do love that blue room. They call it the blue dungeon, but I love going down in there. Just the energy is like electric, right?
It really is. You go down those stairs. It has that gym smell that like we all secretly love.
And it's crazy that they're taking over the whole building, because back in the day they just used to have like 1 or 2 rooms down in the basement, and it's like 3 floors now. They've got the floor 2 floors above this as well, with like Muay Thai area, and they got a cage and everything, right?
Yeah, and we don't have to keep talking about these guys, but I did want to notice, like, man, how good John looks, right? He's just about a year or removed from hip surgery.
Ton of surgery, yeah.
And last time we were there for ADCC, he wasn't really he was just kind of coaching from afar. He was having other people kind of demonstrate the technique.
He's not using his walking stick anymore.
Yeah, and he was out there training with everybody, showing them and moving around. So I was really pumped to see It seems like
there's
John's
Craig in
doing
the
good.
background.
Doing good.
Yeah, there he is, Craig Jones.
His beard is coming in nicely since he's been to Austin.
Oh, Gary with a hand brace on. He's wearing a glove. He basically didn't break it, but he hurt his hand smacking it on top of that guy's head in 1FC.
Yep, exactly.
That's what you get when you commit to striking too much.
And like you said right here, man, it's like every time you go to a John Danaher class, it's like a seminar, you know, because he breaks things down so in depth. Every class, it seems like. So
There's so much information. I was thinking about this while I was listening to him talk about this subject here now. I forget exactly what it is, because this is the problem. There's so much information. Every single class, he's doing this every single day. The amount of information these guys have access to, it's like higher learning kind of stuff, right?
And he does it gi and no gi, which is kind of crazy, right? He'll break these crazy leg locks down, and then he puts on the jacket, you know, and then does crazy judo techniques with Gary St. Ledger there.
Yeah, Gary St. Ledger. Travis was talking about him, right? We're really an amazing judo guy, black belt in jiu-jitsu as well. You always see him on the mats here. In fact, there's a little clip of him, I think, working some techniques with Gordon, right? And yeah, man, this look at that. I thought it was really interesting as well, you know, to see that John teaching things like the De La Riva guard and stuff is fascinating, because I'm a black belt from De La Riva. That's where I train in Brazil. And I've trained at Henzo's a bunch of times, you know. Every time I go to New York, I always try to get a class in Henzo's. And I walk in there one day and he's teaching De La Riva guard sweeps. And it was great because obviously he has his own little take on it and his variations. And I was like, oh yeah, it's actually really cool. So, you know.
I don't know if I've ever seen John teaching like that much on video, to be honest. So,
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think there's really been as much footage of him teaching in the classes like that.
FloGrappling exclusive.
So yeah, it's really cool that we got access like that. I think we have a really good rapport with those guys. We obviously are big fans of Henzo Gracie Academy.
Huge, yeah.
And what those guys are doing there. So yeah, that's cool.
No, there was Gordon only training gi, or is he doing both, going back and forth?
It seemed like he's only training gi. Maybe not only. It sounded like he was still doing like a couple times a week no gi and stuff, but that did seem like he was doing majority gi.
And then I heard that Gary is pretty much just doing like what do you call it? Shoot box. Like, so it's like boxing with takedowns, right? So it's like MMA style training, and then he's not really. Said he hasn't trained in the gi in like 5 years or something like that. But
I think he's still coaching. I mean, he has his academy.
He does, he does. He mentioned in an interview with Ariel Hawani the other day that you know he's still running his gym and stuff. So I guess he puts it on to teach. But it's kind of cool because, you know, like, it's amazing, right? You've got a team of guys, very close knit, and yet they all have individual focuses and objectives. Gary with MMA, Gordon with gi, Nicky with no gi super fight. Man, it's amazing how that kind of coexists. But I guess that's just speaks to the power of the team, right? The unity that they have right there. What about Atos then? Because you mentioned this. So Andres is doing the gi tournament.
Yes.
Okay? He's going to do Marianas Open, as is Hulk. And then Perez preparing for no-gi round-robin tournament there at Kazai. So what was going on in the training there? What did you see?
And of course, we have Andre doing King of Mats. So
of course.
I walked in right after morning training had finished on Wednesday. Wednesday, yeah, sorry, my calendar's all screwed up, flying around too much. And that's actually their rest day. And on their rest day, everyone was still there. I'm like, well, who's resting? Like, I mean, they weren't training super hard, but they were all drilling. They had a morning class that ended at 10:30. Then everyone was hanging out. Andres came in after that. And Ari Farias was there. I didn't expect to see him in the gym because he's fighting in Brazil like as of a week and a half ago or something like that.
Yeah, he recently had an MMA fight, right?
So he was back there. And
I think he's there to prepare for Worlds. I think he's doing a training camp for Worlds, right?
They just started their Worlds camp. I don't know if you guys have seen their Instagram, but there was that crazy photo. The Mendes brothers came down, and there's like 60 black belts on the mat.
Yeah.
Apparently they're going up and down on splitting days of the week. So they'll travel from San Diego to Orange County and train at AOJ, and then vice versa. So getting some high-level training, but very much the same vibe. Everyone is getting ready to compete at something, you know, whether it be in Abu Dhabi, Worlds in a few months, Brasileiros, or super fights or anything.
I expect we'll see a bunch of those Atos guys go over to World Pro, and you know, then of course Worlds is just around the corner. Brazilian Nationals is the week after World Pro, so it's man, right up until Worlds is like non-stop, right? We just have this crazy like non-stop schedule. In fact, it blew my mind to see this because, you know, we got guys like Philippi Panna and Jackson Souza going from Guam. A couple of days later, they're going to be there competing in Abu Dhabi. And then you got guys like Gianni Grippo. The week after Abu Dhabi, he's flying to Brazil to compete in the Brazil. Well, he signed up to Brazilian Nationals.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's insane. What kind of a schedule is that, man?
Josh Hinger was also on the mat, so you can't forget Josh.
No, is it just because we are approaching a time in jiu-jitsu where we've never had this many events before?
Well, I don't know.
Or
I
is it
mean,
the
we saw it's the season as much, but I definitely think there are more opportunities as well. Because I do remember this time last year was very similar.
April's always crazy.
April's always crazy.
Yeah.
It's right before Worlds comes at the end of May, and the same thing happened. The way the calendar fell, the World Pro was the week before Brazilian Nationals, and it literally is like just non-stop from here on out up until Worlds, and then everybody just chills out for the summer.
It honestly just feels like non-stop just all the time. I mean, but
that was kind of actually the vibe that I got in Atos it wasn't even a special time really. Like they're just used to it. They're used to having these crazy events coming up. They're used to having a lot high stakes, lots of money on the line or prestige. And
all over the world.
It's like, oh, where are you going? You're going to Guam? Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll be in Brazil. Everyone is preparing for some high level thing there, and you just see it in the training. Everyone is constantly training or talking about what they're going to be doing next. So it's.
What's interesting is let's be real now. I mean, in jiu-jitsu, we talk about the jiu-jitsu lifestyle a lot. We talk about the traveling. We talk about the hanging out with friends. We talk about all the cool opportunities. Maybe a little bit more so than other sports. And you look at guys like in wrestling, for example, and it's all about the grind, right? Mm-hmm. It's totally non-glamorous. It's the complete opposite. It's all like, no, hard work, hard work, hard work. That's all we do. And let's be frank, man, like there is a glamorous sort of shine and aura about jiu-jitsu, but it is equal amounts hard work as any other sport. And I think sometimes we almost need to remind people of that, because the Instagram makes it look all cool, right? Everybody's posting the cool shots of them looking good, but man, there are just hours and hours and hours every single day spent in those rooms working their asses off, right?
When you flip through the Instagram stories and you can skim through like 8 hours a day, like, oh, morning session, lifting, lunch, evening session. It seems pretty easy, right? Just 4 little quick posts and you did it in 10 seconds, but that's someone's whole day, like 6 days a week. So
Gordon talking about training in the gis, he was candid. He said it's very frustrating, and that's what Danaher said. He was like, well, yeah, like you can't just walk onto the mats and be great. Like you're gonna have bad days. You're gonna have times where it's like really hard, and you got to push through that stuff.
One of my favorite quotes is Cobrinha. He loves to say this, and he says it all the time, and that it's simple is hard work pays off, And man, these guys are putting in the work. The guys there at Atos, the guys there at 10th Planet, the guys there at Renzo Gracie's, and man, with all the tournaments coming up, I guess that's when we see the results come out, right? Mm-hmm. Well, guys, man, another awesome day, a week catching up. Man, it's really cool to get.
We could talk for another few hours here.
We could, but it's great to get the perspective of you guys coming back from the trips. We've got a bunch of trips coming up soon. Well, I would have liked to have gone myself, but you guys got there first. Next week and the following weeks, we've got so many trips. Really, we really do. We've got all these international destinations. We've got Guam, we've got Abu Dhabi, potentially a few others in the mix there. We're kind of like just planning out our little season now up until Worlds.
But New York, April 14th, Kasai.
You guys will be there for that one. So absolutely non-stop packed schedule of events and coverage. So really stay on top of all of this. We'll be there a step of the way, and we'll see you again next week.